Back at again with another YouTube video. It's your boy Uriah G. Today we're gonna react to 10 best pro wrestling retirements. Let's get right into the video. Alright, we have an ad to start off.
Wrestlers and retirement. They're not very good at it, are they? While the odds of a wrestler actually staying retired after their so-called final match are lower than Kurt Angle winning at Sacrifice, some of them at least get to enjoy a match or ceremony, or both, that ends their careers on the strongest note. It's almost a statistical certainty that they will end up coming back for another match or another run or 2 or 20 later on, yes, but if you try and tell me you weren't moved by their retirements, then I suggest you retire from watching wrestling. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 best pro wrestling retirements. Join us.
But first, I would like to have a serious talk about protection, obviously, and it can either or from
Marines.
Really? Come on, man. We barely even started the video yet.
Place in front of a sanitized, empty WWE Performance Center. But the world shutting down was actually a positive for The Undertaker, whose scheduled bog-standard match with AJ Styles was changed into the cinematic Boneyard experience. While it's entirely possible that the Phenomenal One could have carried the dead man to his best in-ring performance in Donkeys, the match they
I feel like he could have had a better match than this, honestly. How do you guys feel about this match?
actually had, which was more like a mini-movie featuring some wrestling moves, served as the perfect swan song for Mark Calloway's iconic character. Not only did Taker get the victory, but he literally got to ride off into the sunset. Well, the sun had technically already set, but you know what I mean, on his big fat hog to close out night 1 of WrestleMania. A few months after his trip to the Boneyard, the Phenom announced his retirement from pro wrestling. Though his final farewell at Survivor Series that November was a bit weird. Seriously, did they pull a stag party rib on Full Gear Kane? The Boneyard match with Styles was a
She said a full gear cane.
fitting way for an all-time great to sign off on his 30-year WWE run. Number 9, JBL. John Bradshaw Layfield believed his career was over due to chronic knee and back injuries when he put World Heavyweight Champion Rey Mysterio over on the May 26, 2006 episode of SmackDown. JBL retreated to the Blue Brand's announce desk and worked as a commentator for the next year and a half or so before coming out of retirement in early 2008. The tall Texan found himself once again in the main event mix, working with the likes
And then I think Rey Mysterio had beat him at WrestleMania 25, which he quit, right?
of John Cena and Shawn Michaels on Raw. On the March 9th, 2009 episode of the flagship show, JBL beat CM Punk to win the Intercontinental title for the first time. He had held the title for about a month when he met old rival Mysterio at WrestleMania 25. While these two had engaged in some long dramatic battles in the past, this one was over about as soon as it started, as Ray hit the 619 and a top rope
Quick finish match. I see why he quit and left.
splash to pin JBL and win the gold in just 21 seconds. Then, after the match, Layfield got on the microphone and quit in a huff. As the man himself has rightly pointed out, it was the perfect way for his sniveling heel character to go out. Number 8, Terry Funk. Alright, how many of you just said lol, which one right now? And why do you say lol anyway? Why don't you just laugh properly? I swear the internet has broken all of our brains. Yes, it's true that Terry Funk retired so often that it basically became a running joke, and that either he or Atsushi Onita, who idolized Funk, probably holds the record for the most wrestling retirement.
He's like a hardcore wrestler back in, ECW times with Mick Foley, Cactus Jack.
That said, the first time the Funker decided to step away from the ring was on August 31st, 1983, and it was a bloody good one. Funk teamed with his brother Dory Jr. in the main event of an All Japan Pro Wrestling show as they defeated Stan Hansen and Terry Gordy in a customarily surly contest. Terry had announced his plans to retire 2 years before the show, and the fans were electric for what they thought might be the last time they would ever see the legend compete. While the match itself is terrific, most remember it for the post-match scene where a bloodied and teary Terry Funk cut a promo repeatedly shouting the word "forever" as fans threw streamers into the ring for him. Little did those fans know that Terry Funk was simply telling them how long he actually planned to wrestle for. Truly, God bless Terry Funk. Forever! 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 Number 7, Steve Austin. When Steve Austin returned from major neck surgery in late 2000, he knew that he was wrestling on borrowed time. It was hardly a surprise to see Stone Cold feeling beat up and burned out, even if it was a shock when he decided to walk out of the company prior to the June 10th, 2002 episode of Monday Night Raw. The Texas Rattlesnake famously balked at being asked to do a clean job for newcomer Brock Lesnar in a King of the Ring qualifying match, the latest in a long line of creative decisions that dissatisfied Austin. He was gone for 7 months, and though fans didn't know it at the time, Austin had only one more big match left in him. That big one was the third and final match in his WrestleMania trilogy.
One of the best rivalries of all time, because every single time they wrestle each other, they always knew how to put on a good match. Stone Cold and The Rock, them two against each other.
With one of his greatest rivals, The
See why I said one of the best rivalries of all time.
Rock. After a typically exciting bout full of twists and turns, Stone Cold laid down for the great one before the two shared a private word in the ring afterwards. Austin went out on his back, putting his adversary over clean on the grandest stage. He didn't want to make a big deal about retiring before or after, but he did business the way it should be done, and that's the bottom line. Number 6, Daniel Bryan. One of the least likely main event success stories in WWE history, the ultra-talented Daniel Bryan got to the very top of the industry by working hard and forging a connection.
Nah, I definitely agree. He did work hard to get to where he in WWE, because NXT 2010 season 1, all the way from that into, when he was over by the fans 2013, 2014. So if you think about that, in a 3-4 year span, they were looking at Daniel Bryan like he wasn't, could be one of the greatest, to now is a respectable wrestler in the company of the history of WWE, because he did a lot for the company in a sense.
With the masses that management simply could not ignore. But soon after winning the WWE title in the main event of WrestleMania 30, the American Dragon was forced to relinquish the gold due to a neck injury which required surgery. He came back in early 2015, but that return would sadly prove to be short-lived, with Bryan having to once again vacate a title, this time the Intercontinental Championship, and sit on the sidelines for medical reasons. The information surrounding this latest absence was murky, and it was unknown whether he would be able to wrestle again. On February 16th, 2016, Bryan confirmed that, effective immediately, he would have to retire. Later that evening on Raw, D-Bry got to address the reasons for his retirement and give a speech in front of friends, family, and fans in his home state of Washington. It was an incredibly emotional and very real address that saw Bryan speak from the heart before being given a standing ovation by everyone backstage. Number 5, Kenta Kobashi. Throughout his career in All Japan and then Pro Wrestling Noah, Kenta Kobashi established himself as one of the best professional wrestlers.
Definitely looked like he did a lot for, New Japan? Well, wherever company he was in, they must have pushed him, because look at those belts. He got like gold on his arm.
On the planet. But the countless Kings Road classics that Kobashi was involved in came at a cost. His knees began bothering him in the mid-90s, and he would have many surgeries on them over the next couple of decades. He would also have surgeries on other parts of his battered body, including on both of his arms, but Kobashi would always come back, demonstrating his unparalleled fighting spirit and passion for the business. Kobashi even managed to come back following a battle with cancer, but by 2012 it was evident that the wheels were about to fall off, and the former GHC heavyweight champion announced his retirement match. Final Burning in Budokan saw Kobashi in an 8-man tag that was an absolute thriller, lasting 40 minutes and ended when the big man hit one final moonsault.
It's really messed up, Sometimes when wrestlers, they did a lot, and they either come up with a health condition or an injury, a severe injury that takes them out of action to the point where they have to retire. And, it just happens sometimes.
Afterwards, all the wrestlers on the show, as well as Kobashi's wife and mother, came out for his speech and a 10-bell salute before Kobashi made that long walk back to the locker room one last time. Number 4, Trish Stratus. A fitness model signed to provide eye candy as a manager during the Attitude Era, Trish Stratus went from pretty much clueless to, in just a few short years, being an accomplished performer who was one of the best female in-ring talents in WWE. After 6.5 years on TV, however, Trish sensed that she had seen and done it all and announced her decision to retire at the Unforgiven pay-per-view. Unforgiven
Trish Stratus is my favorite wrestler of all time. Like, female favorite wrestler of all time. Not favorite men wrestler of all time, but female.
just so happened to be taking place in Trish's hometown of Toronto, Canada, and she was going up against perennial partner/rival Lita for Lita's women's title. Could the scene have been set?
Them two got like one of the best female wrestler rivalries of all time. I can agree with that. But I do gotta check it out for me to even say that.
Any more perfectly. To tell the truth, there was always the lingering worry that WWE, vindictive swines that they could be, might decide to mess with Stratus on her last night. After all, there's nothing better than seeing a babyface humiliated in their hometown, is there, Vince? Thankfully, WWE did the decent thing and let Trish leave with her head held high as she beats Lita clean with the sharpshooter, the official wrestling move of Canada, to win her record-setting 7th and final women's title. Number 3, it's Sting! Sting's first retirement came as he was inducted into the 2016 class of the WWE Hall of Fame when he simply announced that due to neck and spine injuries, he could no longer wrestle. Steve Borden had enjoyed one hell of...
I mean, what was the point of him coming back? I mean, look, maybe he felt like he could keep going because, you know, he was wrestling in TNA too, so maybe he wanted just to do one more wrestling thing. He was in WCW, and then now he wanted to try WWE. He had his match at Night of Champions against Seth Rollins, and I guess he had gotten injured. I think he had gotten a concussion or something, and yeah.
Of a career, and on the surface of things, there was absolutely nothing wrong with him choosing that night to make the announcement. But this was coming after a bitterly disappointing WWE run that saw him do jobs to Triple H and Seth Rollins in his 2 pay-per-view outings. Luckily, the Stinger had one more redemptive run left in him, this time with the newly launched All Elite
And then, like, bro, then he gonna go to AEW. Come on, man.
Wrestling. And what a run it was, as Sting rolled back the years as the crazy vet mentoring the even crazier Darby Allin, the face-painted duo having some genuinely superb matches over the course of...
Like, don't get me wrong, he's an okay wrestler. I ain't gonna put him in, like, my top 10 or anything. But, like, he ain't bad. Give me a match I should check out by Sting. Put like 3 of his best matches in the comments, please, if you can.
3 years together as a team. Saving the very best for last, Sting and Darby took on AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, in the main event of Revolution 2024. It was a sensational spectacle that featured Sting's own sons getting in on the act before their old man got the win.
Whoa, he had his own sons with him in a match? I didn't even know that.
And the gold, fittingly in former WCW stronghold, the Greensboro Coliseum. Number 2.
That's how you know I don't watch AEW. I mean, if it was on TV and there was nothing else to watch on TV or nothing entertaining, I might watch it. But you guys know I'm a WWE fan.
The first time Shawn Michaels had to retire, it was far from on his own terms. Still in his prime.
That was the match he had against Undertaker at Royal Rumble, 98 or 99. It was in the 90s, and they came back later on, before they had the early 2000s with the DX, and then Triple H turned on Shawn. Yeah, then he had his rivalry with Triple H. Yup.
The Heartbreak Kid was forced to throw in the towel after dropping the world title to Steve Austin in the main event of WrestleMania 14. Michaels was bitter and broken in the years afterwards, but somehow, I'm sure Shawn would say because of his best mate Jesus, he was able to come back for a second act that only enhanced his legacy as one of the greatest to ever do it. Thank you, Jesus. Heading
Definitely into my top 10.
into WrestleMania 26, HBK became possessed by his mission to beat The Undertaker and end the streak, agreeing to put his own career on the line in order to secure a shot at doing so. The two legends had a match that was
This is another best rivalry of all time. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. You know, just the whole rivalry in general, from WrestleMania 24 to 25? Yeah, WrestleMania 25 to 27. Because, you know, 25 and 26 was... Well, I'm getting the dates wrong. Because I know they had fought 2 times, and then they have fought 2 times. It's a lot. Triple H, Undertaker twice. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels twice. They just couldn't beat the man. But they did good. They put on good matches against Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Every bit as good as the show stealer they had had the year prior, with Taker walking away the victor once again following a jumping tombstone piledriver. Michaels waved goodbye after having yet another Mania all-timer before being given the main event of...
This is one of my favorite retirements, and then the Edge one. Those two, this one and the Edge one, are probably my favorite ones, because it's like really sad, and it's like it really touched me. You know, me as a fan, the feeling. You know, Shawn Michaels and Edge, because they kind of, I think they teared up in their retirements. I could be wrong.
Raw the next night to give his retirement speech. Damn it, sexy boy, you'll make a grown man cry. Number 1, Ric Flair.
The Ric Flair one was sad too. That's number 3. I'm gonna put that at number 3.
Flair had it his way, he would have died in a wrestling ring. And to be fair, it could still happen. But Vince McMahon and WWE called time on the Nature Boy's career for him, crafting a storyline that saw Flair needing to win every single match, with any loss resulting in instant retirement. Slick Rick survived until WrestleMania 24, where he met Shawn Michaels in the evening's most emotional...
And I can say this is actually a good match. This was a good match. Like, it wasn't rushed. It was a good paced match. Y'all tell me in the comments how y'all feel about this match.
Charged encounter. It wasn't the automatic 5-star classic they would have doubtless produced had both men been in their primes, but it was captivating in its own way as Michaels carried Flair to his best in-ring performance in years. Well, carried him right before old Yellering him into retirement, that is, as he put the old dog away with sweet chin.
Now, the finish was good. I liked the finish. The storytelling with the finish was good.
Music. A blubbering Flair got the standing ovation he richly deserved that night, including from his own family in the front row, but the tears weren't over yet, as the next night on Raw, the dirtiest player in the game received the type of send-off reserved for the GOATs, as his friends, family, and wrestlers from his past and present came out to pay their respects.
Because he did a lot for the company. He's been in the company since before I was even born. That was 10 best pro wrestling retirements. Tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming. Stay tuned. Subscribe, like, comment. I think I just said that. And yeah, Uriah out.